So things can happen very quickly, and we can go triple, quadruple, 5x in a period of 3 months. And if you miss those 3 months, you're going to miss everything. So the big problem with trading Bitcoin is, you can trade it just like anything else, and you think you're making money, you're losing money. But the big problem with Bitcoin is, if you're not in the market for those 3 months, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to get in the market and be there with any kind of size when this thing actually goes up. So that's why I think people hodl. That's why I really don't recommend trading. That's why I also really, as much as you might be tempted to do not sell Bitcoin short, because otherwise you're just going to get taken out. But really the main thing is you're not going to catch those moves unless you're in the market. And I do think that we are going to see another one of those moves in the next year. Let's just say the next 12 months. So, I don't know when. I don't know when it's going to be. It could be in a week. It could be in 3 weeks. It could be by the end of the year. It could be next year. I don't know. But we have to stay in the market to capture those moves.
Fred Krueger, a trusted mathematician and a Bitcoin maximalist, expressed his insights about the current market of Bitcoin and why you absolutely cannot trade or short Bitcoin for the upcoming months. Fred Krueger predicts that Bitcoin's value can rise very quickly, potentially tripling, quadrupling, or even increasing fivefold in just 3 months. He warns that if you are not holding any Bitcoin during these critical periods, you'll miss out on these significant gains. Krueger points out that while trading Bitcoin might seem profitable, the real risk is not being invested during those key months. This makes it unlikely to profit from the big price jumps. Therefore, he advises holding on to Bitcoin, often referred to as hodling, rather than trying to trade it or sell it short, betting that its price will go down. He emphasizes that to benefit from these rapid increases, you need to stay invested in the market. He believes another big price surge will happen within the next year, and investors are advised to be patient and alert. The main idea is to remain in the market to catch these significant price movements. We will now bring you clips of Fred Krueger as he explains this concept with graphs. Give this video a like to show your support and subscribe to the channel to always be updated with the latest crypto news. Thanks and enjoy.
So let's take a look at the data, and I think you guys will agree with me about this. So let's look at, first of all, let's look at this 2017, this 2013 market. Now, as you can see here, right, Bitcoin, if you look at the entire 4 years of Bitcoin from 2009 to January of 2014, actually 70% of the move of that was done in 2 months, right? You could have done nothing, but just bought Bitcoin in September of 2013, and you would have captured 80% of the move, right? 70 to 80% of the move, depending on if you held it 3 or 4 months in the end of 2013. So really, we have this extreme tail here. This is, and by the way, if you looked here and you sort of said, oh, what's the chart look like? Well, the chart looked bad, right? The chart looked like we were rolling over, it was going down. And so there was really almost, maybe we're going to come back. Oh, maybe this is going to be a double top. No matter what you do, you're not going to see this ginormous pattern here, this thing. So that's the first real kind of move up that we've seen. Now, if this was just a one-off, I would say, go ahead and trade it. But look what happened in 2017. Well, let's look in 2017. 2017, let's go to here and let's look at that market. There again, what do we see? We see that the market did whole lot of nothing, and then it never really crossed 6,000 until October, right? That's something we just don't remember, because we always remember that it went to 20,017, but But bear in mind that it only crossed 6,000 in October. And it really, in November really, it only crossed 6,000. But almost all the gains, and this continued to go up really briefly, right? It touched 20,000 in December. If you had not been in Bitcoin in October, if you got out in October, you would have missed, again, three-quarters of the move, right? So everything really, really happened over a 3-month period. Now again, you say, okay, that's 2 times, Fred, but surely it didn't happen again the same way. Yes, but it did. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the third movement, the 2020-2021 bull market. And again, here we go, doing a lot of nothing, and this time it's again from let's say from November on, right? November at 20,000. 4 months later, we're at 60,000, right? So things can happen very quickly, and we can go triple, quadruple, 5x in a period of 3 months.
Fred Krueger illustrates how quickly significant gains can happen in the Bitcoin market by using historical examples. He points out that in 2017, Bitcoin's price didn't cross $6,000 until October, even though people often remember it reaching $20,000 by the end of the year. Most of the gains occurred in a short period, specifically between October and December. If you weren't invested in October, you would have missed a substantial part of the price increase. He then referenced a similar pattern in the 2020 to 2021 bull market. Bitcoin's price remained relatively stable until November 2020, when it was around $20,000. 4 months later, by early 2021, it had tripled to $60,000. Krueger emphasizes that Bitcoin can see massive increases within a very short time frame, often just a few months. If you're not invested during these critical periods, you'll miss out on significant gains. This also shows the importance of staying in the market to capture these rapid movements. With all that being said, here are more clips of Fred Krueger as he explains why Bitcoin is a good investment.
Is Bitcoin a good investment over the immediate term or over a long period of time? And I think that the time horizon really makes a big difference, right? Because what would be a great investment in general? I think a great investment in general is if I said, go buy Bitcoin, and then 2 weeks after you buy Bitcoin, it's up 10%. That would be, you'd be, well, Fred, that was a great investment. I really love that investment. And especially if it went 2 months after you bought it, it was up 15% or 20%. And then 6 months after you bought it, it was up, 40%. Now you would be like, that is just a great investment. I love Bitcoin. Fred's just the greatest guy. He told me to buy Bitcoin. I bought it. It was up 10%. Then it was up 20%. Then it was up 40%. It's great. Unfortunately, that I really can't tell you that, because I honestly, if you ask me what Bitcoin's going to do over the next 2 weeks or even 2 months, I have to admit I don't know. Am I generally bullish on Bitcoin? Yeah, I'm generally bullish. I make a lot of Bitcoin videos that are very pro Bitcoin, but I don't know what Bitcoin's going to do over the next 2 weeks or even the next 2 months. I would like to hope that it would go higher, but I really don't know it's going to go higher. And do I think it has a chance of going significantly lower over the next 2 weeks or 2 months? Yeah, I do. Because Bitcoin, unless you catch it at the right time, it might drop 10% in a single day, and that's Bitcoin, right? Doesn't mean it's a bad investment. Doesn't mean you shouldn't buy it or own some of it, but it does mean that it is risky in the sense of if you buy it and you can't tolerate any loss, you may find yourself quote unquote stopped out of your position, or you may find yourself with a loss on your hands. So ignoring that, so now that we know that I can't time Bitcoin, do I think that it makes sense as an investment for most people to own over the long term? And the answer there is yes. And do I think? And why do I think that? Let's now go to a different chart. Let's go to the sort of the longer term chart of Bitcoin. And now let's look at this thing on sort of a bigger scale. So what do I mean by that? Okay, so let's look at this chart. Now, in this chart, sort of a chart of Bitcoin since 2015, 2016. And the y-axis of this chart, the vertical axis, is listed in logarithmic terms. So it starts at 165, and then it spends this amount of space going to 1,000, but then the intervals get smaller and smaller and smaller, right? So this is a logarithmic scale. But if we look at it this way, you can see that it's going up. It's going up more and more as time goes by. Now, if you had bought Bitcoin at this peak here, which is about 14,000, okay? Was that a good buy? Well, not really if you ended up selling it right here at 3,500, right? You bought it at 14,000, you sold it at 3,500. That would be terrible, right? So you have a very, if you bought it there and you were going to have to face 80% decline from that point, or 75% decline from that point to that point, you lose 2/3 of your money. Well, do you lose 2/3? Well, no, not really, because if you held it, not even that long, just you held it for 3 years, okay, all of a sudden, that 14,000 is now 64,000, okay? Well, you basically quadrupled your money in just 3 years, right? That's an amazing return.
Do you agree with Fred Krueger's insights about investing in Bitcoin and crypto in general? Do you agree that you shouldn't trade in a 3-month window? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments below and continue the discussion. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more insightful discussions on cryptocurrency and finance. Your engagement helps us continue providing valuable content to our audience. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos as we go over the latest news in crypto finance, technology, and everything in between. Until next time, happy investing.